Clinton isn't running for president. She's doing a darn good impression of someone who is. She just announced that she and Bill Clinton will head to Iowa, home of the first presidential caucuses next month. Time magazine says it's her first trip to Iowa since the 2008 campaign. Or as CNN put it, Hillary's making a big political move heading to Iowa. Or as The Wire put it, maybe most accurately, Hillary Clinton returns to Iowa to begin running for president. This follows the release of Clinton's book and book signing tour and her public criticism of President Obama's foreign policy, all seen as signs she's probably running for president. I never do this. I never do a show of hands question, but show of hands. Anybody think she's not running for president? The two Republicans. You were New Year's Eve. You were on the air with us saying that you don't.
I've been there for a long time. First of all, she's a political klutz. Look, go back to Hillary Care, which the president let her go ahead with, and it destroyed his administration. It elected a Republican. Elected a Republican Congress, both Senate and the House, for the first time since '52.
Her husband klutzed her way to 2 terms in the White House. She klutzed her way to 2 wins for the Senate.
And look at her book rollout. She, we were broke when you left the White House. That's why you had to take the furniture. She didn't say that, but and then she returned. But I mean, she just doesn't have the political ear of her husband. And that, secondly, she voted for the Iraq War, and she's going to the center with respect to Syria and taking on the president on foreign policy, saying he should be tougher on it, basically. And that won't go over with the base of her party, the space, the anti-war. And her party is going hard left. It's not going to the center or right. And she will not be able, she's known as a Clinton sort of center or left. She's not going to be able to get there.
I think most of the conversation's coming from the hard left, but I don't think the majority of the electorate in the Democratic primary is that far left. Actually, I think there are a lot more Hillary voters in the primary than I think people. This is the party of President Obama now.
Yeah, but hard left and African American.
But let's think about the 2008 race. I mean, Barack won. It was going to be transformational no matter who won. It was a history-making race no matter who won. And perhaps were it not for Barack doing very well in caucus states and Hillary not, it would have been a different outcome.
So I don't see it about a woman president or a black president. I see it more about Obama getting to her left, going to the caucuses in basically Republican states that are very liberal. The Democratic process is very liberal, lining those up first and writing the McGovern rule, playing again the left and African American.
I got to move this on. Obi, then Dominic.
This president is already pushing Warren. Behind the scenes, everything they're doing, he's pushing left. And therefore, it's going to cause another problem between the Clintons and the Obamas, and it's going to be a civil war in the Democratic Party.
You know who was in the wings on this? The mayor of New York City.
Okay. Now a little reality check.
No, his coalition is exactly the same as President Obama.
That's New York City. For a little reality check. We have just listened to wishful thinking on behalf of my good friends here. Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee. Hillary Clinton was running for president the day that she dropped out of the race and said that women broke one more mark on the glass ceiling. Yeah. I've moderated a debate with her. I know her quite well. She's going to be, in all likelihood, unless something gives with her health, the next president of the United States. And more importantly, unfortunately, the Republicans don't have anybody go up against her. 4 of their candidates are under criminal indictment. I didn't hear that.
I'm doing the math. Harry, Christie. Who are the other 2?
Well, okay, the former governor of Virginia, the soap opera marriage.
Okay, but he's not a
candidate.
Right, he's not a candidate, but he's still a mark on the party.
Okay, so who are the others under? Who are the 4 under indictment?
Walker and
Scott Walker.
There we go.
All under criminal investigation.
All right,
that's different than indictment.
I got to move on. This will be more red meat for the Republicans at the table as we shift to the current president. Hillary Clinton, not the only Democrat criticizing him today. The Times out with a piece saying President Obama is frustrating members of his own party by seeming detached from the legislative process. And the piece is quoting big-name Democrats like Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who couldn't get the president's help talking about stalled nominations. Reid told others he was, quote, astonished by how disengaged the president seemed. West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin describing Obama's congressional relationships as fairly non-existent. There's not much of a relationship. Independent Maine Senator Angus King, who works with the Democrats, says the president hasn't done well establishing relationships before there's a crisis. And Claire McCaskill of Missouri describes Obama schmoozing with officials as, quote, eating his spinach. It's not something he loves. And of course, some have claimed that Obama's congressional relationships have added to the gridlock on the Hill and Congress's record low approval ratings. I think that was O'Brien who said that.
I have sat on this set and said that many times, and you and Richard, who's not here tonight, and you have all questioned me when I said this president has not reached across the aisle and done a damn thing.
I wonder why not.
But that's not across the aisle.
And
This
these
is his own
Democrats are
party.
saying the
You know
same
what?
thing.
I have said this before publicly. I actually think he's a very smart man, but he has a disdain for politics. He doesn't like the backslapping. He doesn't like engaging Congress. He doesn't like to do it. And if you notice, part of the reason that you don't see him doing it in the White House is because he didn't have to do that to get elected. He didn't go through traditional political channels to do that. But let's not take away the fact that even in his attempts to push policy through Congress, it's been the Congress of no. And how do you govern in that? How do you
The
govern
Congress
in that
includes the
sense?
Senate and Harry Reid. What has Harry Reid done to pass a budget? What has Harry Reid passed that he hasn't said to the House, let's work on this and get this
I think the
together?
Senate's put forth more bills for the president to sign than the House does.
For the president, no, the
I
Senate
think that,
can
I
put a
think,
bill
no,
for
but
the
you know what I'm
Senate.
saying. No,
But
but you know what I'm saying. The Senate, I think the Senate has done more to promote the president's policies and to actually work across the aisle
What
than
the
the House
Senate
has done.
does is actually 2 weeks ago, the House passed a bill to take care of the children at our border, to make sure they go home to their family. And what did the Senate
yes.
do? The Senate left town and didn't even take it up.
Yes, let's talk about immigration because I recall that the president put $3.7 billion out on the table.
Oh,
and how much is it now?
$3.7
How much
but
is it now?
The
But he
fact
puts
is
it
the
out.
House put
He
it
puts it
out.
on the table and then he doesn't do anything.
And
by the way,
I-
Bob Woodward called him out on this a long time ago. It's been well known that he just doesn't have any real relations with the Democrats, let alone the Republicans.
and I
on
don't
the Hill.
disagree, and that's what
so
I'm
he
saying.
hasn't given the leadership that he should have.
And that's why I think that he actually has a disdain for that type of politics.
Finally, because he's a lame duck president, and Democrats are saying what everyone's known for a long period of
Mr.
time.
Chair,
Washington.
Mr. Chair, has the House tried to work with this president?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
They have.
Certainly.
This House?
Does the speaker, has this speaker historically, like other speakers, been able to control his House members?
This president
the,
didn't
the
even put
Republican.
this president didn't even put a budget forward that the
that's
Senate
not
would
what I asked
pass
you.
on. I'm just saying. So
It
when you
was
talk
Mitch
about
McConnell who said, we intend to make this man a one-term president. And every Republican
Early
has stood
on.
behind, early on,
Early
and every
on.
Republican has stood behind him to try
So,
to make that a
so if he
reality.
doesn't
Let me tell you,
necessarily have
what
the
else
great
is a Republican
But that's
gonna
since
say?
day one.
Okay,
That's
but
since day one before
but
he
he doesn't
before he
control
said
the Senate.
anything.
Harry Reid controls the Senate
Andrew-
for the next few months.
All right, Dom, and then
I
I
just want to say quickly, I just can't wait until he leaves the White House and writes his own book. I can't wait. I wonder what's on this president's mind. I wonder why he won't reach out to members of Congress. I wonder why.
I think
I
Why?
wonder.
Why? What's he gonna say, Don?
I'm not going to say. David Dinkins used to say this. He would say, they would say, "Do you think your media coverage is fair, Mr. Mayor?" And he would say, "Why do you ask?" So I'm just going to leave it at that. I can't wait to
Because that
read
man got
President.
more coverage
I
because he was a
can't
lousy
wait
mayor.
to read President Obama's book the moment he leaves office.
I just think you want to star in the movie of that book.
No, say that again.
I think you want to star in the movie of that book.
Why-
When they turn that book into a movie, I think
Wait,
you want
you
to
think
star.
I'm better looking? Is that what you're saying,
I
the
think-
president?
I think-
What are you laughing at, Mr.
Squint
Chair?
hard enough.
Of course you are.
Little Dominic, little gray hair, you'd be all set.
I want to, or a little hair. I want to move on to Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, just
boy.
turned himself in and was, after he was indicted on 2 counts of abuse of power, he just went in for a booking and a mugshot. He contends the indictment is bogus and politically motivated. It stems from his threatening to defund the unit of a critic of his, the state public corruption unit, by the way, after she was arrested for drunk driving. And you know, even the New York Times has come out and said, this seems like a whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of politics.
David Axelrod did too. David
As he
Axelrod
did.
tweeted
As he did.
and said it was no good.
Yeah, they should have
This
come forward
office,
with this
this
indictment.
office in Travis County, okay, which is the Travis County DA in Austin, Texas, is the most liberal part of Texas. Ronnie Earl went after Tom DeLay and everything got thrown out. I went after this attorney, actually, when Ronnie Earl was doing this, and he threatened to subpoena me. When we went public with that subpoena, they folded and they ran away. That's how political this office has been historically.
Any chance this actually helps Perry if he's looking for the White House in 2016?
Yes.
Yes, this shows
Yes.
that he's a leader, he's doing what he should, and that this indictment's going to fail.
Remember those Republican debates where they would clap at most things that most of us would consider bad? Imagine when he's on stage and announces that he's under indictment.
Did anybody see the video of this DA when she got arrested?
Oh, yeah, video.
She was
Would
very- she was
anybody
like
on
3
the
times
set?
the legal
Would
limit.
anybody on the set not call for her resignation?
You're right about that.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right about that.
All right, and by the way, if we get, we've got about 10 minutes left on the air. If we get a picture of his mugshot, we're going to bring it to you right here on RFL. Stay tuned for that.
The bottom line is Governor Perry has emerged as a real player in the presidential sweepstakes.
Nah,
on the
I wouldn't go
Republican
that far,
side.
Mr.
Between
Chair.
this and
He's
his
at
the way he
5%
dealt
of
with
the polls.
Obama on the
He's
immigration issue.
Governor Perry.
Well, his name's certainly out there.
Let's not forget the last campaign he ran where he couldn't name the third agency that he was going to cut. And he's at 5% of the polls.
It helps when you go from low expectations.
That's true.
That is
Well,
true.
in that
You'll
case,
never be
he's got
disappointed.
nothing but upside if he wants
Aim
to run
low
in
and you'll never
2016.
But he has
disappointed.
proven he has the upside.
And he's
in the
also
way he's
admitted one of the
way
issues
he's
on that
handled these
race.
two
I mean, in fact,
situations.
he's been at the New York meeting. He spoke there. You were there that night, I think,
Sure.
Ed. And he's had conversations. One of the biggest issues he had was he got back surgery right before going in there. He was on painkillers. He's admitted that was an issue for him during the race, and not to do that.
And by the way, he's been traveling to different places around the world. He's been doing his homework. Policy experts have been visiting him in Austin like they visited W way back when. He is getting ready for a
We'll
real
see.
run.
We'll see.
We're going to
We'll
take a
see.
break. More RFL right after this. Stay with us.